Hi everybody, we are back from the break, and welcome for everybody that just joined. This is the game design workshop for HypeHype in mind of the Global Game Jam 2022. I am your host for this workshop, Haamu, an artist at HypeHype, and I'm joined by the legendary Blue Mint.
Hi, I'm Bloomit. Not so legendary, but I work in HypeHype. I mainly do programming and other stuff. So hi everybody, nice to see you.
Now this is a real reward to everybody that's joined. Won't be happening too often, so enjoy. Anyway, let's get right into it. Amazing to have you here, Mikko. So today we'll be talking about stuff regarding game design in HypeHype. And we have coupled it with screenshots from, I kid you not, an unreleased Blue Mint masterpiece. So we are seeing screenshots as examples, and we'll be playing the game at the end of this workshop. So practically it's a teaser for our next upcoming Blue Mint title. Are we ready to roll?
Sure, go for it.
Nice, amazing. So let's start off by a very generic starting point for game design. Where do we begin? Generally, game design is such a philosophical topic, but let's not go too deep into it. I would say one of the best ways to understand game design is to simply play and study other games, right? Just playing, you get to understand, and you can, if you put your mind into it and you start to think about it, you can see some ways games have tackled issues and how they have done level design, and it boils down to pretty simple aspects. But let's jump through some of those aspects in this workshop. But yeah, let's start with the start. So beginning, it's often the most hardest part of making games. Like, where to begin? What if I don't have an idea what I want to make? Take this also in mind with that now we have the duality themed game jam happening, so not everybody has already an idea where they want to begin. Maybe there are some things and tips and tricks that you can learn from this workshop and apply to your weekend project. But yeah, generally with HypeHype, it's pretty fast to start testing and making a game, at least to prototyping. And when you have an idea, I recommend you to start prototyping ideas around it. So it can be two ways. You might have mechanics or you might have visuals that you want to start with, or something to do with the theme or a meme or characters. But yeah, usually the more technical person you are, you tend to start making games by building gameplay or mechanics first. Not too much caring about how it should look like, what's the narrative or the theme, but how do you play it? What are the controls? What's the cool stuff that you can do by actions in the game? Whereas an artist might start simply by exploring what kind of a world should this game have. I have no idea how to play it yet, but I have this cool idea of a character or thematic or visuals that I want to put into the game and then start building everything around that. It can also be something like a meme that you can just start making a game from. But I would recommend you to write down your idea, whatever it is, and maybe split it into smaller key features of the game, and then start prototyping. And here, if Blue means you want to say something about the screenshot of an early prototype of your game, that is that everything here boils down to.
Yeah, so this is actually the masterpiece Haamu keeps talking about. So what you see in this screenshot, it's my very first vision that I wanted to make. My vision was basically poop jumping out of a toilet. And then I jumped into iPod. I think I wanted to make a meme or something very funny. So I made a bathroom and I made a walking poop. There was no gameplay, there was nothing yet. And that's it. That's how my latest game got started. Just a sketch of a very random idea. And all my games started that way. I just started sketching something inside HypeHype.
Did you hear it? This is the patented way Bloomint makes hypes, makes games, makes masterpieces. And it all starts from the toilet. Well, at least this one. But anyway, you already polished the visuals to be quite nice looking here. That's pretty crazy to me.
I very often start with the visuals. It's for some reason it's very important for me to. If it looks good, it drives me forward. Actually, finish the game.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of depth into that. So, when you see something nice and like polished to that level, even if the game doesn't have depth into it, it can motivate you to keep continuing, and you want to make this a finished product. Whereas if you have something that looks dull and boring, you might lose interest. Well, it depends on the person, but yeah.
And it depends on the game too.
Right. Maybe we move forward from these design vibes.
Yeah.
So, successful games in HypeHype, they are often easy to learn, hence for the title of this slide. They are fun to master, but if a game is easy, it doesn't mean it has to be boring to play. You can introduce difficulty as the player progresses through levels, or however the game is supposed to be played. Like, platformer is quite simple in a way that you start off with simple levels and you move on to harder and introduce more level elements that really test your learning. But it can also boil down to something as simple as start with simple math questions or for equations, and if you have a math game, then you obviously want to make them harder a little by little, while teaching how the mechanics work in the game. Anyway, let's take the math out of here. We don't need it here. We have calculators anyway. But in here, the key point of easy to learn is intuitive controls. And if your controls are easy to pick up, it goes a long way, especially in HypeHype, where you're only limited to, most of the time, 1 or 2 fingers. You don't want to make too complicated control sets or too like unique, so that it doesn't surprise the player that, oh, this is not how the game plays, even though the controls are usually like this. Even in that kind of a game, give the player enough time and space to safely learn the controls. Maybe even in a rewarding way. Here in the example where Blue means game, in this game you only need 1 finger to move and jump. You're doing swiping left and right, up and down. That's the only controls you have. There you can do so much with that. But in the game, if you want to explain, you start with some kind of a tutorial, right? Can't hear anything if you...
Yeah, I think the most innovative thing about this game is the controls. And usually when you do platformers, you start with joystick and jump button, and it's pretty complex. It's for mobile at least. So I wanted to see how far you can get with only swiping. Yeah, tutorial is here as well. It's a new concept. I haven't seen many games with many platforms games with swiping, so at least this game has a tutorial.
Yeah, we will see it soon. Don't worry, hold your horses. But
and the previous poop concept, it evolved to this, and the poop is gone now, and the toilet is gone, and everything is gone, but it's not wasted because that's how it evolved.
So you changed the toilet into pipes and the poop into a cute little teddy bear. Right.
Yeah.
Excited to see what actually turns out from that. Let's move on to the next slide. So the previous slide was about controls. Now this is about objectives in your game. Usually all the games have a way to end or finish. So the objectives are obviously direct towards the goal, most often. And the main goal, the main objective of the game is just understanding what you need to do in order to be successful at that game is really important. Especially as hypes themselves are very snackable. They're short, usually they're short, they're small, quick to play, quick to enjoy. But there is also the catch. It's easy to swipe away to the next hype if the game doesn't captivate or you don't understand the concepts of the game. So in this game design manner, it would make sense to keep players make the game's main objective so easy to understand that you don't get confused and get lost and frustrated with what you should be doing in the game. And this goes much in hand with level design. As you can see in the picture here, Bloomint built the level so that you are following a path of coins as rewards to direct you and teach you where you should be going in order to be successful. And by introducing the rewarding score collectibles into the game like this, it also feels very satisfying and rewarding to progress. Right. Now here in the next slide we see something about that satisfying progression in gameplay in forms of challenge and reward. And generally, sorry. Generally, in this hype, do you wanna open a little bit what's happening on the screen?
Yeah. So this game is like a story or adventure games. So I tend to put surprises and secrets in these kind of games. So here is one of the secret areas, or not so secret, but bonus areas. That is a little bit harder than the basic game level. And if you complete it, you get good rewards, coins, drops, and nice explosions and stuff.
So essentially you're saying that you're giving the player a risk that optionally can be taken, but if you complete that risk, you'll be rewarded quite significantly. So the challenge is met with a reward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, very cool. Super cool to see how the game is split into chunks in these little screenshots or videos here. Yeah, all right. Next up, we have something about gameplay in the form of forgiveness. And this forgiving gameplay is maybe a little bit difficult concept to understand. So we have attached a few screenshots for explaining what's going on here. Maybe Bloomins, you want to comment on this?
Yeah, so the jumping in this game is like done so that it allows you to jump if you are on the ground. But very often you swipe a little bit too early or a little bit too late. The jump doesn't work. So to less the frustration, I made so that if you jump too early, it just waits a little bit and jumps as soon as it's possible again. Or if you go over an edge and your character starts falling, you can still jump to catch up.
It sounds like something that's not maybe technically the most easy thing to do, but it's super nice that you have been able to introduce this extra mechanic to the game that lessens the frustration of playing and just gives players more time to progress and feel good and get satisfying progression happening.
Yeah. Also, what comes to mind from this game is that if you run out of lives, it doesn't end the game instantly. You can still continue for a small fee of coins. And also, this game has lots of checkpoints and or restart points where you spam if you fail. So little stuff like that makes the experience a lot more enjoyable, especially for newcomers.
Yeah, that is so nice to hear. We'll take a look soon when we play through this game. We'll take a look how Bloomin was able to implement this into the game. Potato and Soulspark are saying in the comments, mentioning coyote time. Is this something? Is this coyote time, or is this based on some raycast magic?
Yeah, the basic detection if you are ground is raycast, and as you know, it's only 1 point. And basically, if you jump too early, it will wait a fraction of a second. If you land during that time, it jumps instantly when you hit the ground. And
that is a pretty...
Yeah, and late jumping is done so that like in the screenshot you can see the white arrow, kind of that raycast that doesn't hit, but the character still has a collision with the platform, so as long as there's any collisions going on, it will allow you to jump.
That is so smart. That is very smart way of doing it. Another way would probably be also a good way, a good approach, the concept of coyote time, where if you jump, you'll stay a little bit in the air, or you have these small time frames where you can still do actions, even if it's against physics. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. So then we want to talk about visuals. And yeah, visuals in game design is a huge topic. So this is a very high level, like many of these things, very high level stuff. But yeah, right off the bat, you want your game, of course, to look good. You want it to be attractive. and you want to incorporate dynamic elements, visual dynamic elements, so it's interesting to look at even if you're not playing it. But what is really important with the attractiveness is that it captures the player's interest. When you're swiping through your feed looking for games to play, if you see something just visually interesting, that might be your cue to tap and play, even if you don't know anything about the game. So visuals are, in a way, a really good way to market your game. Now, it's not obviously the most easiest thing to nail, but yeah, game making is a little hard. So we are not expecting everybody to know all aspects of game making here. But yeah, generally, visuals also go hand in hand with level design. If you take a look at the screenshot here, you might notice that the background is pretty much just blue, shades of blue, different shades of blue. And what this gives you, you might not notice this or like figure this out even without thinking about it, but that is done for the reason of separating the background from the playable area of the player and everything that you want to focus on. So you have platforms, you have enemies, you have the player, collectibles, all of those are separated from the background, so you clearly know where you're going. And well, this is easier probably to do in 2D games, such as the side scroller that we are looking at here, and in 3D games where you explore an open world, sorry. But keep this in mind. Even if you cannot apply it in everywhere or in every game, it's still an important part that makes games just that significant amount better. Yeah, it's pretty clear to see here with what are color-coded wise good for you. You have a coherency in color with the collectible coins, with safe things such as the player, which is brown, and you have yellow coins. Now, in this game, enemies are painted black with white accents of skulls or spikes, which is a clear, significant difference between elements in the elements of interest in the game. You can do. I usually put something like magenta to implicate danger in my games. So everybody has their own way of doing it, but it's sometimes really good to think about what you want to convey with colors. Danger, safety, maybe a goal, things like this. Right. Let's not go too deep into it. But you can notice all of these kind of aspects in classic games, like mentioned in the chat, Donkey Kong Country. They are utilized very well. Next up, what do we have here? Level design. So, just taking a brief look at level design as an idea. You can do so much with level design, but generally, levels should be designed around mechanics. And if the mechanics are simple, like in this game, how you play it, it's quite basic way. So you want to build your your level around that aspect. You can experiment with it, like introduce new challenges, introduce new level elements, and maybe new enemies, maybe new kinds of interactables. Like in this video example here, you can see that there is a moving platform and you need to precisely time your jump right in order to get sick rewards from above the platform. And well, if you didn't jump, well, you would probably fall off to the water and have a little problem there. But yeah, what do you think? You were making this level. What kind of level design ideas did you have?
Yeah, many of my games are like this, level-based. I don't know. I work a bit by bit, one screen at a time. But I always try to bring something new when you progress further.
But your level elements are always something that challenges and works very well together with the mechanics of the player, which is like when you take a look at if you go look at Bluebeam's hypes, you start to notice a pattern there, and that's quite marvelous. He's very consistent in this, so yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all with this Blooming level quality. But anyway, let's take a look at what's around the corner there. Oh, we are already 30 minutes in and reaching the final destination here. Polish. How do you finalize your masterpiece? Well, this oftentimes you have worked on your game for quite a long time. In this spot, myself included, I am at fault here. I want to finish and publish my game as fast as possible because I've been working on it for so long. I want to share it with all of you to be able to move on to the next project and like just get it out there. And sometimes there is a rush to that. And during that rush, you might forget about adding polish to your game. And yeah, here's a little screenshot, maybe a little extreme, I'm not sure, but you can, with polish, you can make the game on the left look like the game on the right. So adding beautiful worlds to a game, adding sound effects, particle effects, haptics, animation in betweens, and all of these kind of things. So you'll see a well-polished hype when you play one, and it's always so nice to see. Yes, during this game jam, I would recommend giving enough time at the late Saturday or in the early Sunday for polish, that you get to put some, like you have already your mechanic in there, you have your level or levels, multiple ones if you want, and then add that polish. You want those musics, you want those sound effects. Without them, or even haptics like vibration, when you take damage or finalize, reach a goal, you want to do a little vibration on the device. That just gives that extra jazz on the game. I think that makes a big difference, but so many other aspects also just need to be aligned in order to get the game together.
Yeah, I'd say I spend polishing my games at least 50% of the total dev time.
50%? Are what?
Yeah, it's a very big part. And the other big part is building the actual level around the gameplay. So usually the prototype takes only a day or two, then I spend like the rest of the week just polishing and building stuff around that gameplay.
That's actually kind of sick. But then again, polish can mean a lot of things. It can be polishing the code, making things more smooth and better feeling. It can mean adding like effects, sounds, and these little nice things. But it can also mean just polishing your visuals, finding that thematic and like improving that. If you started with mechanics instead of starting with the visual side of the game, you will find that polishing will be significantly more heavy. of a process because you need to add those visuals then, if not yet, in order to get the game like as a complete package. But yeah, the chat seems to be also on the same level there, 50% around that time. So yeah, polishing takes time, but it is very important. But maybe as important as playtesting, you'll want to playtest the game. And what might be easy for you might not be easy for newcomers to HypeHype or even your friends and family. It's very good if you have somebody that you can send the link of the game or give the device to and let them playtest the game. Maybe not even like telling them what to do, just seeing, observing what they do with the game right off the bat and getting feedback. Maybe you can write down some notes, what they're doing wrong, what are obstacles in the game, what was good, what was bad, and yeah, just playtest. So this is also kind of like a level of polishing because you go back and forth and you improve the game. But yeah, I can't stress it enough that you should be playtesting your game, especially if you have a game that you maybe like this kind of objective-based game. You should be playtesting it out for bugs. You can actually complete the game and maybe not like get stuck with some bugs, like figuring those out. It's a tedious process, but it is a process, big part of game making in general, like in the industry. A lot of resources and time is spent on quality assurance so that all the bugs, glitches, and problems and issues with gameplay and satisfaction or this progression is kept at the highest level. Just because bugs can really be frustrating, even if the game is really good. Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things, as pointed out in the chat, is to describe your game controls that the app is constantly telling you to do at the end of the game or publishing the game. But yeah, I mean, sheesh. Then, without going forward in this presentation, I'm going to switch into the game itself. Now, are we ready? Take a deep breath. We are about to play the unreleased blooming title that we've been seeing teasers of throughout this workshop. Alright. I think we're ready to roll. I have disabled sounds here. I'm not sure if they will work. So I beg your forgiveness for that, but oh, maybe they are coming through, I'm not sure. Anyway, here we have a tutorial. Please do comment and stop me if I'm doing something you want to talk about as I'm playing this game. So let's take a look. Left and right to move. Alright. Fair enough, I can do that, that's easy. Up to jump. I'll get that coin right there. Down to stop. Alright, so right off the bat in this game, I have an area where I can safely try out my controls. So I can... This is all one finger. I'm using my thumb to move, to jump, to swipe. This is the innovation you were talking about. This is really nice. And I have a 1 coin to begin with. Right. So here we are. This is the game. Level 1, I think.
Yeah, give me likes and you'll get level 2.
As per usual. Level 2 if you get likes. Right. Oh, I missed that. Oh no! Wait! I didn't. Cool. Right. So here we face the first danger, but I'm in safety. until I crossed this sign with a skull. It stopped me there, but let's go. 10 coins. All right. Oh, can I get that final coin? There we go. Oh, well, not that easy. 1 health lost, but that's okay. I have 2 left. Let's go forward. Oh, that's charging me right there. Oh boy. I'm jumping. Alright, so... Oh! Brutal! Brutal spikes. So here we can see, in action, the level design philosophy of rewarding the player and directing the objectives as the coins. So I was able to know where to go because I wanted those shiny coins from the platform. Nice. I keep swiping left and down, just left and right, just because I'm used to it. Oh no! But I just didn't remember you can stop, because usually these games don't have it. So, but maybe this is something that will become the new norm. Let's jump right on top of this turtle. Alright, traveling. This is the scene we saw in the presentation. Nice, I get the heart. I really needed that. Oh no. Oh! Yeah, I really needed that heart. This seems to be quite of a pickle to overcome. Those bullets are coming from the right real hard. Oh no. Blooming is cringing in the corner right there as we try to survive this level.
Yeah, good playtest.
Oh, come on! Yes, there we go. I'm so happy. I wish there is now a checkpoint. So, now is this the part you were talking about, a potential challenge? I see 2 paths for me. 1 down and 1 right. And I think, because I've been going right all the time, going right would be the direction to complete the game. So I assume going down would be then the secret or the challenge. So let me take a look. Oh my goodness. I need that coin. Oh. Some chomper creature.
Some game sounds from Bloomint.
Game sounds from Bloomint.
Yeah, I think the microphone is picking up something, so that's what the chat is hearing. So there is no audio on Haamu's gameplay right now because
all right.
So if
yeah, thanks for explaining.
Delays or stuff like that.
I see. Right. All right. So now, Blooming. Here's the kind of like difficulty. What do you call it? So the forgiving gameplay part where if you lose all of your hearts, you can still continue playing from the last checkpoint if you pay enough coins. Now, I assume the coins are then the leaderboard score. So I wouldn't really want to do that. But I will try now. Because I really want to get through this. Okay, so this was much easier for me now because I led the way here. Okay, this looks kind of difficult. Oh, nice. That felt really satisfying to jump. Alright, we have an elevator and a button to press. Take that! Oh, my goodness. So many coins.
There's actually a delay on the stream also, I noticed. So,
alright.
Currently, you are in the stream. You are in the part where you pay coins to continue. So
Oh,
I think
sorry. This
something
is
went wrong with the mirroring, but we can get the
Yeah.
idea of the gameplay here. So that's the most important thing.
okay. Hashtag no commentary. Monkey brain going forward. As my streaming is. Oh no, my streaming is lagging behind. Ooh, I did it.
Yeah, this looks super awesome.
That thing caught me off guard. Anyway.
One thing that strikes me in this hype is that everything is actually in a single hype. All these different secrets and other places.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So I think we've reached the end. And I will stop playing this right now. But here, you guys, gals, we're seeing an unreleased game from Bloomint that applies so many of these game design workshop principles. Yeah. Any closing words regarding the gameplay here?
For me?
Yeah.
Uh,
The creator himself.
well, I don't know. It's almost finished, so it's gonna be released soon. So let's see if I change anything or keep it like it is now.
It is so extremely cool, and it feels like, most importantly, it feels satisfying and good to play. It gives a challenge. It looks kind of simple because it's so colorful and cute, but the difficulty increases significantly in this one level. But not a single time did I feel too frustrated. I wanted to get through it. This is just an exemplar Blooming title that deserves a bombardment of likes and comments in order to get that level 2 someday out, right?
Yeah. Level 2 for enough likes, like always.
Extremely extreme noise. Yeah, I mean, now we'll go back to the presentation. There is only one slide left, and the slide is about questions. So, any questions? Any comments about the workshop? Maybe for future improvements? Maybe something about the game jam? Or just generally game design? This is your one and only chance now that Bloomint himself is here. When is HypeHype going global? No idea yet, to be frank.
When it's ready for that.
Yeah, when we are ready, we want to make things so well before going global, so it will take time, but we are here building together a great future, a great platform together, so everybody on board already is lucky to have you guys. Excited to create something, but I have no idea where to start. Now, not sure if you missed or were during the previous presentation or the event with Job, but as the theme is duality. Now, during this game jam, the duality itself generates like these vague ideas or topics that you can take into account when designing the game for this Hype Jam. Or Game Jam, it's the global Game Jam after all. So, like, duality ideas, such things like day and night, fire and ice, light and dark, left and right, things like this. And you can apply that to visuals or mechanics, how to play the game, and visuals, how the game looks, or what's the thematic, or narrative, meaning the story. Like, if you have a hero, it's probably fighting off the evil, so there is duality of good and bad. But yeah, I also struggle with where to begin with the game. If you are more of a technical person, let me go back a few slides. We had a slide about this. If you are a technical person, you might naturally start by creating more of the mechanics or the gameplay, technical side first. What's the objective? What kind of controls do you have? And what do you do in the game? But if you are more of like a designer or artist person, you might want to start exploring the world or the visuals or the thematic. No, I want to have this certain thematic in the game. I have no idea how to play it, but I really want these type of characters. It needs to have this. So start with those. Start exploring. I believe that's how you got this game from this screenshot here, which is a toilet scene, to that blue, beautiful platformer world that you are able to create.
I also want to add one thing for this, that if you're starting from zero and you have no experience in the Hype editor, watch tutorials and play around with the templates, because templates are the easiest way to start creating game in HypeHype.
That's a very, very good point. Templates, they are a simple and like pretty much in a way a clean starting point for making games. You can also utilize our signature feature called Remixing. You can take any hype and tap the remix button, and now you will have your own version of that hype, and you can make a level 2 out of it. You can make it into some different theme. Now, if you have a racing, like for example, a basic racing type of a game, and you remix that, you can change that into something like a post-apocalyptic car chasing game, or something like toy cars in this miniature world. Remixing is quite an easy way if you want to keep the gameplay mechanics as they are, but maybe change the thematic or play around with some game level, or just the vibe of the game. There are so kind of many ways to go tackle this, but yeah, like Chop said, if you are a newcomer, start with tutorials, watch our tutorials, and just play games. If you don't have any ideas what to do, I just recommend playing games, playing hypes, go through the previous winning titles of game jams and go through your feed, and maybe take a look at older games on, like, for example, older Nintendo titles from old consoles, Nintendo 64 and stuff like that, and maybe you'll find something cool that you want to recreate in HypeHype from there. Now, there was a question for you. How long did it take you to do such a masterpiece?
Well, my editor time says over 20 hours. Now gonna be close 30, I think. When I finally released, that's actually the biggest game I've done so far, so it took a lot more time than usual because of the size of the level and the amount of the different things you can do in the level.
Yeah, and like you said, you mentioned that polishing the game took like, what was it, 50% of the time. That's quite sick. So
Yeah, I
taking-
had to tweak the backgrounds and the graphics and switch between and try things and just trying to find the final look for a very long time when I'm doing these types.
right, yeah,
So the 50% is maybe a lot. For most people, it's probably a lot less. I don't know.
or some it might be even more, especially if they're building something like a narrative that's dialogue based. You might be thinking about the narrative and these dialogue options, or like text, how do you want to write things, or the story might take even more time. Depends. It's also always context based. There's like a game can be so many things, it's absolutely nuts. But yeah, moving on to next question, I think there was a question for your origins. So Bloomint origins. What are some struggles you remember from making your first hypes?
Struggles. There's always stuff I want to do, but I cannot do because of the, like, I'm a programmer. I know everything is possible, but of course, because we can limited set of tools, it's always a little bit struggle to find a way to do something. So we are constantly trying to improve those tools and give you more options and easier options to do stuff. So I'd say doing something that I know should be easy is not that easy after all. That's the biggest struggle, and that's what we are trying to improve in the HypeHype.
Yeah, definitely. We are building it a little by little, and maybe don't keep reaching this into a next question from Gaming with Soul. Will there be in-depth hardcore logic node tutorial from HypeHype team? And yes, I think so. But we are trying to focus on bringing more accessible tutorials and hand-holding ways, and like just teaching these basics and editor like first steps in the upcoming, like nearby future. We are trying to focus on this one, and later when we have been able to flesh out ways to get everybody, whether or not they are previously have done any game making or not, when we have everybody on board, then we'll be able to start building those extreme examples and tutorials for HypeHype making, stuff that you can learn from and make games like that we saw here, what Bloomint had done. That would be absolutely amazing to have. Probably quite challenging, but yeah, eventually we'll get them. Yeah. Bloomint, did you feel challenged to make such a big game in a single hype? That is the next question here.
Actually, after I found the controls and found the mechanic, I felt so it was so promising. So I just went on and kept like making it bigger and bigger. And maybe not so challenging, but very like innovating to expand the concept.
Yeah, it's not like the simplest obvious way to start thinking about how can you make these new unique game level elements that fit perfectly to your game controls. Like you really need to put your playtesting time and just like going for it to come up with ideas that you had in play here. But how would you say you would be able to come up with inspiration or ideas like that you had in those, other than just playing your hype and seeing what you can do with it?
Well, what could I say? Like you said earlier, it's always what YouTube, old games, and what they have done, and Nintendo's a good example of like very polished gameplay and elements in it. And find inspiration from everywhere when you walk out into nature or in the city. Just look around. And I don't know. If you have a good idea, you can do it. It's just I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this is like really good tips coming from Blooming himself here, and I think everybody is listening with their ears wide open for all kind of information they can learn from you. So it has been a real honor to have you on board in this workshop with us. So it's the clock is already 8, so I think we are running out of time, but wrapping this up, is there something we want to still say? It's thank you everybody for joining, and I hope everybody's gonna have a blast during the game jam.